4:3 aspect ratio. There's so much blank space.
It's just a bunch of extra room for activities. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, look at that. That is weird. So I gotta use your Mac?
Yeah.
All right. Cyber UC Meeting 63. Welcome.
Not 62, even though we accidentally put that.
If you're new,
You're not.
you know, you can join our Slack. CyberUC.com, guys. We have 5 little colorful words up there. All right, so announcements. Our desktop PCs are now dwarves. We named our 8 desktop PCs after dwarves. I think it's one of my best ideas I've ever had.
Hey, excuse you.
Yeah.
That was me and what's his name? Shanak.
Yeah. So
I was like, we gotta name him something stupid. And he's like, how about 7 dwarves? And I'm like, done.
it's a good
The
idea.
eighth one.
We intend to commit with them.
Yeah.
The 8th one is Snow White, and it's the live stream machine.
So
here's
think
Snow
it's
White
good.
right here. It's got a little label on it. Even they're all labeled now.
Got a
We
little
could have
label.
called that one Hope and named the others the 7 Sins or whatever.
The 7 deadly sins.
And we're also we're switching to Debian for most of them. We're
Well,
gonna have 1 or 2 cubes machines.
Once we
to
get
satisfy.
the cubes machines set up, we'll re-image all the Debians to cubes.
Wait, really?
Once we have them set up, because literally
That
cubes
seems like
is
such a waste of effort, especially since like most people are going to be learning Linux on these machines.
Yeah, I
yeah,
oppose
because you don't. But the thing is with cubes is it's so easy once you have it set up. Like it's literally
I don't think that
you
they're gonna
click
be
here.
using cubes
I
to work
will-
that
You
if
don't
you
use
have it-
cubes, you use Debian in cubes.
Once you have it working where Debian is nice, I will agree to it if it is actually as easy as you promised it.
It is.
But I say we only make the switch if it is as easy as you say.
But there's so much like benefit to teaching people cubes, learning how to work inside a hypervisor environment, learning the good practices of security. I mean, like if we can teach people the skill of cubes,
if we can do it without it being like a burden, like a constant burden.
teaching is a burden at first. Yeah.
So at that point, we can do it.
But we need to eat the shit sandwich, and then we'll be able to like actually. And I'm happy to eat the shit sandwich. I've been eating the shit sandwich on my laptop. I've been running cubes on. I tried to install a hardware VM of Debian on there, and I bricked it. But that's one of many times I'm gonna go through, and once it's done and we have the image and everything's nice and sexy, then it'll be good.
I'm just wondering if the time spent teaching people how to use cubes wouldn't be better spent teaching them more in-depth things in Linux. I'm just wondering if it's worth it.
We can teach in-depth things in Linux without necessarily just teaching them cubes. Because with cubes, it would be you click on this little cube button over here, and then you just select your VM, and then boop, entirely full Debian or whatever OS VM pops up, and then you can forget about the fact you're in cubes. It's literally like
if it is as easy as that, then I'm okay with it.
That is cubes. Cubes is that.
I want to see it actually at that point before I.
You can get it at that point on a basic install of cubes.
All right.
It's just really tough to configure things past that, but you could configure things all day long inside the cubes you make. We're doing cubes, goddammit. So we're gonna have a table at Feldfest and the UC Main Street events. These are gonna be some big recruitment events. Last year we had a great time. I'm gonna need some help. Because I'm going to make another poster board. I know we talked about with Greg at some of the meetings in the past, what we're going to put on the poster board. If you guys have pictures, ideas, thoughts, whatever the hell, we'll put them on a poster board. We could come up maybe with something cyber sexy for the UC Main Street or Feldfest, something easy, not required for people to come up and do the cyber sexy thing, but like a drive-by. If people are having a conversation with us, we could show them.
We should have like a Wi-Fi access point saying "Come to the Cyber UC booth" or something.
Yeah, I could whip out my little
or like
chip.
Hundreds of SSIDs of "Come to the Cyber UC booth," something like that.
Well, so it is only $8 for one of those ESP like little chips with the wireless de-authing capability, also with the wireless spam access point capability. So theoretically, we could just buy a couple of those for like $40 and then just set them. Or like we can all each have one on us, powered by our phones. So wherever we're walking around, we have we're spamming all the wireless networks, hundreds of cyber UC networks.
Let's make sure we're not going to get in trouble.
It wouldn't be de-authenticating anybody.
It
would just be annoying, but it'd be cool. Definitely something to do. We've been asked to give a lecture at the end of the fall by WPA, head of the engineering department. They want us to talk to these computer science people and talk to them about whatever the hell that we want to talk about. I have some ideas. I'm sure you guys have some ideas. If you guys have some ideas, keep them in your head. And
so who is this?
Is
this like CS freshmen?
I think it's just CS. I think it's not just freshmen. I think
Who's coming to
They'll,
it? Like,
they'll probably just put out like an email, and whoever shows up shows
it's
up.
probably for anyone in the CS.
They'll
anyone-
give us like one of the big lecture halls.
oh, okay.
And we get out in front of everybody. And we might have a decent crowd of people. Might have professors in the crowd, other students in the crowd. So I mean,
If we get the word out, we could also just put it out to IT too.
yes.
And get them to comment.
I mean, but I think we could give a really good, competent, seminar. What I'm thinking is the modern architecture of a security operations center. So we don't go too far down any rabbit hole, but we stay high level and we talk about all the different parts and pieces that go into actually doing cybersecurity work. How do you build a security operations
So
center?
different types of roles would be a good idea. So we get that idea.
Dude, or,
Yeah, you could be
or we
the
could just
analyst,
do some
the
live
DevOps,
demos.
the what?
Just do some live demos.
We could do live demo. We could do
Or we could just sort of it could be vulnerabilities that are probably in applications you have made.
That would be another great one. That's a really good idea actually.
Because I think the value to people who aren't like super enthusiastic about security is to sort of get them thinking like a little bit like not everyone's going to become a security expert, but getting the average CS person to become knowledgeable enough that their
we
applications
could
aren't.
talk about everyday
Input
vulnerabilities.
sanitization, and then talk about this stuff in Twitter, some Twitter examples of failure to input sanitize with those tweets that auto retweeted and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good one, especially for a CS type of crowd.
I think it'd be really cool if the takeaway people had is I need to go patch my GitHub project right now.
That'd be a really good idea. I mean, we could literally have demos, or we could be talking while one of us is on the stage with our screen shared on one of the two projectors, doing the demo that we're talking about, actually exploiting some outdated version of Adobe Flash on a PC VM. You get the idea. That'd be awesome. It's a good idea. Lab server room should be cleaned up by next Tuesday. That'll be dank. We'll be able to put our servers in a clean room.
Theoretically, it's already cleaned up. It was supposed to be last night.
Yeah.
After we left.
Hopefully. And then we get tables and then chairs, and then we can.
Do we have a timeline?
Wow.
Do we have a timeline on getting tables and chairs?
Tables should come as soon as the servers are in that room. The tables are here. The chairs are here.
Sweet.
From my understanding. But this is UC, so it could take forever. That money we got stolen from. So you had something to say? No? Yeah, I'm gonna say this for the friggin' third, fourth time. Simpa Security Meetup. It's great. Free food, cool people. You literally, if you want a job, if you're looking for a job, cough, Hayden, Nate, if you guys want to network within the field, a lot of these people that come to the Simpa Security Meetup are head of a security operation at some small business in the area, or an influential member of the security community, or just a very smart person. I mean, this is a great networking event. I highly recommend it. Matt's great. They have he's the head of it. There's another guy in there, I forget his name, but he's the head of the cybersecurity beer appreciation group. I mean, talk about a good group for networking. Go have a beer and talk about cybersecurity with. Hell yeah, I haven't been to that one.
They'll judge me super hard for not liking IPAs though.
No, they won't. just drink an IPA and then spit it out.
I can drink it. I just won't
IPAs
enjoy
are
it. It's not so unpleasant that I can't do it. It's just that
IPAs are good.
No, they're not.
The IPAs are the best beer. And,
Nah.
Yeah, they are. And you guys are just little wimps. But yeah,
I'll drink it. I just won't enjoy it. It's not like I'm afraid to drink it. It's just I'll be like, this is unpleasant. I'm not having fun.
What?
It's not our fault you got bad taste.
Oh, yeah, I had bad taste. All right. So yeah, but it's physical security night. They're gonna have a lot of locks there, and they're gonna have people who sell lockpick sets. I spent $60 or $30. Ryan and I are splitting they had $10, $14, $20, and a $60 set of lockpicks I'm sure they'll have extra sets for people who didn't get to put in the order by 8 p.m. last night. But I think it'd be fun. We can go. We can pick some locks, network. It'll be a cool workshop. And that's at 6:30 p.m.
I just noticed we were dropping frames on the stream. I turned the computer up and pointed the antenna up, and now we're not.
There we go. So weekly content with
Sorry, YouTube, for that 4%
Corey
drop frames,
ups.
but it should be good now.
Corey.
I just want to start by saying IPAs are a terrible choice of beer. Is it this one?
Yeah, don't use
Okay.
that keyboard. It mirrors it onto the screen, but you can't use the keyboard mouse.
I'm just going to get this out of the way before I step on AJ's charging cable. I'm going to start off with a Drupal Symphony flaw. So the flaw wasn't actually in Drupal itself. There was a flaw in a library called Symphony HTTP Foundation that was in a Drupal core, I don't know, DLL, whatever. And Symphony, it's a really popular web application framework. Just Hayden might be able to give a little bit.
Yeah,
more
so
explanation on
Symphony
what
is like PHP. You don't want to write PHP by itself. If you do, your application is going to be horribly vulnerable, and I'm going to laugh at you. You instead use a framework, and there's a million of them. There's Laravel, Code Ignition, Cake PHP. Symphony is it's one of the more
popular.
recognized one. It's sort of enterprisey almost, and it's very good. It's sort of really expansive, and yeah, I think Drupal I think predates Symphony, so I imagine they're not entirely built on Symphony, but a lot of Symphony libraries, like typically if you're making a new project, you do everything Symphony, but Symphony's libraries are very modular where you can pull in some of them, so I'm guessing Drupal has sort of gradually pulled in Symphony libraries, and yeah, the HTTP Foundation library is sort of a pretty core library in it.
Yeah, so what was happening is in this vulnerability is Symphony was allowing for some of these older, more legacy HTTP headers to be used. Specifically, the problem for Drupal was X original URL and X rewrite URL HTTP headers, which was allowing for some potential bypass into restricted sections.
Screw off, AJ.
Fortunately, a patch is out both for Drupal and for Symphony. If you use one or the other, I recommend that you check your version and make sure that you are on.
They patched 2.7. That must mean it is a really bad bug if they bothered to patch 2.7. I think 2.7 is what my company ran on, and I'm pretty sure it was beyond security update. So if they went back and patched it anyway, that means
what did this allow though?
So you could. What it was is the URL could be rewritten.
Yeah, so the way
website?
the way rewriting a URL is pretty common in things. For example, a very typical rewrite rule is if you have it so that like example.com/banana.php $ID = 7. If that's to retrieve banana number 7, that URL is really ugly. So you'll have what's called a rewrite rule that says that if you do /banana/7, the server internally rewrites that to banana.php $7. And so it looks like, I'm guessing what's happening here is that they had it so that if you passed in those headers to rewrite, it would do a rewrite and it wouldn't necessarily obey. It would allow you to rewrite to a URL that you weren't allowed to be rewritten to.
So like, for example, if I want to get the user information for ID = 7, but I don't necessarily have access to that, I could still pass in this rewrite. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I get it now.
Apparently, a similar vulnerability has also been found in Zenfeed and Diactoros.
I have not heard. I've heard of Zend is another pretty common.
Son, not my
I don't know Zenfeed, but Zend Foundation or Zend framework or what is another really popular PHP framework. I have no idea what Diactoros is.
Maybe it was supposed to be Dictatoros. I don't know.
I've heard of neither of those things. So.
Doesn't matter. You can follow the link.
PHP is the one thing that I know, and I haven't heard of it. So.
This next one, Facebook Fizz. So this has been around for a little while, but it's just been moved into open source. It's on GitHub now, and it's used to implement TLS 1.3. The idea is that it allows you to implement it with all of its proper security configurations, but it's also incredibly performant. And they were seeing that's typically a 10% speed increase.
It's made by Facebook?
It's made by Facebook.
AJ's not using it.
Don't trust it. on Facebook.
I mean, you can look at, you can see the source code. You can see if it's trustworthy yourself. But
At this point, Facebook has made so many useful open source things. You can't live without using them at this point.
I can live
yeah,
without
they
using Facebook.
basically they decided to make this open source, I guess, just to help everyone else because of Google's change on Chrome, so that everything is listed as not secure if it's HTTP. This is to help you get that S in there. You know, move up in the world a little bit.
Yeah.
You do not need TLS one. If you don't even have TLS yet, don't worry about 1.3. Get 1.2, 1.0 through 1.2 going before you worry about 1.3.
TLS.
If you don't know a lot
Exactly.
about TLS, I recommend checking out the article. They go into a little bit of detail on what TLS is, why it's used, stuff like that.
Oh, never mind.
Next up, WhatsApp had a vulnerability that was discovered by a firm called Checkpoint. It's an Israeli security firm. It's funny. It's always Israeli, Chinese, Russian. You never hear about the American security firms finding this stuff. It's a sign that we really need to be doing better work here, I guess.
There's no American APTs either, buddy.
Yeah,
You
no.
better remember that.
Nope, none whatsoever.
Whatsoever.
What would our name be? Like, would they do Eagle?
No, it's like there is one that's like named. It's got like equation or something like that.
Oh, it should be the animal should be Eagle.
It's the zero.
It's,
Yeah.
it's math related.
It's the people that were like the NSA tools.
Oh,
They were also part of
Equation zero. I don't know what it is.
yeah. Not part of this.
Yes.
So moving on. So it's a flaw in their security protocol from when they're transferring information from their web app. I guess their API. I guess probably is what they're referring to when they take information from the web API down into the mobile app. There's a flaw in the connection there in end-to-end encrypted messages, so that if someone is already part of that group message, they can perform a couple of different activities that they shouldn't necessarily be able to. That includes changing a correspondence reply, changing the identity of a sender, and sending a private message, but then making the response to that message public.
Whoa.
And they've decided that this flaw is insignificant, and that if someone is making use of it, that you can simply unfriend that person or report them.
That's just like, fuck it, we don't want to patch this.
Yeah,
We're
basically.
too lazy.
And they actually do have an example if you guys want to.
We see if you
Check
got
it
a
out.
friend that's trying to hack you, just don't be friends with them, man. They'll stop them.
So here.
my friends wouldn't do that.
My friends wouldn't do that.
AJ friends absolutely would do that. Do I need to mute?
Dang,
Just-
dude, this is getting some house in here.
I didn't bother figuring out the audio here. The webcam mic will pick it up. The live stream gets it, just not directly.
I want my what was that old stock music on YouTube that you used to be able to have?
Are you talking about Incompetech?
No, it wasn't Competech. It was like YouTube would pay you if you use this music.
Oh, I don't think they do that.
They did used to have a thing where you could put music in, but it was
It was
just
not stock music. It was
Yeah.
just like
but it was all
on a
terrible.
lot of RuneScape videos. What's up?
And so now they're using their little.
I can really
It's a variation of burp sweep that they modified in order to make use of this vulnerability.
Man, look at them pixels.
Damn, this
Gotta
was-
love this 800 by 600 resolution.
Yeah, I apologize to the people in the stream if you're having trouble reading what's going on. I recommend.
Is this Obsidian?
That was Navi. That was Navi.
I know
You can follow the link. The link to this Hacker News article does have this video embedded in it.
if you download it there. This guy's good shit makes music.
The text is like 3 pixels tall.
So they're sending the message.
Part of it, I suspect, might be the Oh no, it's in 1080p.
No, we're literally projecting at 800 by 600.
Oh.
That is the resolution. Because the only way I can get my Mac to output 4:3 and therefore not overrun the edges of the projector screen was 800 600 is the only 4:3 aspect ratio it could do.
Is someone who's screaming from the group?
Because the projectors are configured before HDMI conversion.
Yeah, it's
That 4.3 is
my
instead of-
HDMI is getting converted to VGA before it goes to the projector.
Yeah, 4.3 is what is HDMI? It's
It can do anything.
well, it's
They decided this doesn't need to be patched. This is okay with WhatsApp.
This is like breaks the messaging. Like,
Right.
But again, you already have to be a member of the group message. You can't do it as a third party. That's why they've decided that this doesn't need to be patched. But I mean, yeah, no, if you want to start some drama with some friends, get them on WhatsApp and do this.
just start messing with people.
People's responses,
Oh,
you know.
that would be fun.
Alright.
I'd hit if you move the mouse down, you can full screen it again. There you go.
Oh my god, you do not have the... Just hit the touch screen to click. Okay. So yeah. That apparently doesn't need patched according to WhatsApp. That's perfectly fine. Alright, and this one, I know AJ before the meeting was super excited about this. This is, was surprisingly simple when you really get down into the just how it's done. This was discovered by Jens Stube, aka Adam. He's the lead developer of the Hashcat tool, which, for anyone who doesn't remember, it's like a password hash cracking. It's relying on the PMKID, pairwise master key identifier, in order to get your pre-shared key, which is then going to be used to get backwards to a password.
Your pre-shared key is like your Wi-Fi password. That's what that is.
Yeah, no, but you're getting it backwards to like the actual text password.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So previous WPA hacks have always relied on like you're waiting for someone to attempt to log in and then you're going to try and get the credentials from there and compromise them once you've seen someone log in or once they are making an attempt to log in. But this doesn't actually rely on that. So what happened was he was reviewing the WPA3 protocol in order to try and find vulnerabilities in that, and he actually found this vulnerability for WPA 1 and 2. And he's using a tool like HCX dump tool in order to make a request for the PMKID, which gets dumped back as a PCAT file.
PimKid.
Yeah, PMKid, sure. And the PCAT file is then converted into this hash format, and he just runs that through Hashcat. And it's going to generate your WPA password.
Damn.
directly in one try, right?
Yeah,
I think.
I believe so, yes. So I don't actually have like a video of him doing it, but...
Oh, we don't get...
So like here's the returned frame, I guess, in a PCAT file, and here's the PMKID. So he's just got this dump tool. He asks to get it back as a PCAT file. He's turning that into a hash file, and he's just running that through Hashcat.
And there's some great websites where you can just dump all the hashes instead of
Yeah.
running it through your own Hashcat and just have the community run it for you.
Right.
All right, now on to the recommended reading. So this first one, there were a couple of fake banking apps on the Google Play Store. This is just kind of going into like how they work, the sort of information that they could steal, stuff like that. The Reddit breach is highlighting the vulnerability of two-factor authentication when you are using SMS messaging in order to send the code. If you remember from the recommended reading last week, I talked about how they had the passwords from 2007 leaked just a week or so ago. And so if you have not changed your password since 2007 and you had a Reddit account then, I highly recommend you change your password and the password on any other account that uses that same.
If you had an email on your account, in theory, they emailed you to change it.
Yeah, if you had.
But Reddit accounts do not require email addresses. So.
Yeah. And then there's another article on that same thing that has got a little bit different information, but mostly the same stuff. CCleaner has now added an automatic, and you can't opt out of it, information collection tool into their software. So they're going to start collecting data on you, which could be a serious problem because if you remember from like last fall, CCleaner is not exactly unbreachable. So if you have CCleaner and you have a problem with them collecting information on you, I recommend you uninstall now.
What's CCleaner?
It's a thing for Windows that it'll
like you clean
delete
registry,
files.
internet history.
It'll just delete a bunch of crap. It's nice if your hard drive's low in space.
I think I know.
It's like actually like there's a lot of registry cleaner should normally set up your bullshit alarm, but it's actually legit.
Yeah.
Right.
Clean registry, internet history, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wants to delete like files you haven't used in the last 6 months.
But it keeps a lot of logs, and it's not really secure.
Well, there was like a supply chain breach, and there was like someone got into their server, modified the version that everybody would download of CCleaner to have like a malware in it for backdoor, and they had like a bunch of data breach and everything.
Okay.
So, Android has released the name of the next Android operating system, or rather Google released it. It's going to be called Pi, and they went through like a couple of the features, so if you're into that, check it out. Snapchat had a little bit of their source code leaked and put onto GitHub. What happened was a few versions back, they had a small portion of their source code exposed in the app, and somebody took that, downloaded that source code, and they decided to post it on GitHub. Snapchat took it down with a DMCA request, and now the guy who is from Israel is threatening to put it back up again. I assume he just wants money. We'll see.
Good old Israelis.
Someone was using using SIM swaps in order to try and steal Bitcoin. For anyone who doesn't remember, these SIM swap scams are when you go in and you say, "Hey, my phone is whatever phone number, and I dropped it in the toilet or whatever, and here's a new phone. I need you to transfer it into the SIM card for this new phone, so that this new phone is associated with that number."
Right.
And so you use that, and people were using that in order to steal cryptocurrency.
Shit, son.
Credit card issuer was leaking data. Some hackers were stealing information from banks or whatever. I don't know. It goes into like how they managed to like convince these banks to let them in and stuff like that. Just goes through their process. A router managed to get a crypto mining malware installed on it. It was something like 200,000 routers.
What are you gonna mine with a teeny little router CPU?
Is that a MikroTik brand router? Or
I believe so, yes. And then Apple had one of their bigger plants shut down by the WannaCry virus, which really doesn't look good for them because...
Isn't it a Windows virus?
Well...
Their manufacturers are probably run on like
Windows Server.
Unpatched Windows machines.
Yeah, evidently very unpatched because the patch for WannaCry has been out for like over a year now, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't look good for them.
Hey, it's me. Alright, get your laptops out, because we about to website this shit. What are you doing? Get out. Go home. Alright. If you don't have a GitLab account, you're making one right now. Boom. Let's go. GitLab.
Why not just GitLab?
Because Microsoft is turds, and I don't like them.
You can
make private repositories free on GitLab.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So GitLab, it's like just go to the GitLab.com and there's
It's
a
the same thing.
sign in, register button.
You could even clone it to your GitHub if you really want to do everything.
Yeah.
Make change.
Once you have an account, you want to go to gitlab.com/cyber@uc and request access, and I will grant you access. I am your benevolent leader, and I will grant you access.
You ain't no benevolent leader.
Hey, watch your mouth.
I'm gonna fight you.
I got the stage right now. Excuse you. So, let's see. So yeah, let me know when you've requested access, and I will grant it.
There's so many windows open on my Mac. It's bad.
It looks like I have a bunch of tabs open, but I only have 6. It's just that I have them open on an 800 by 600 display. Yeah, I'll kill that one. I don't need that.
What should my username be?
It's a first name, last name if you can't think of anything.
Boring.
Don't do first name, last name. It's tied to
Do
you.
last name, first name.
Yes.
Just do somebody else's name.
Do IAJI2.
How about be pro hacker 972?
Do not be that guy.
Guy's insane.
Oh, it's GitLab.
Yeah, boy.
I was looking for GitLabs.
Nah, it's GitLab. Let's see, what OS are you running?
Windows.
What OS are you running over there, guys? What? Are you Cubes? What are you on, Ryan?
Windows.
Oh,
Ryan 2.
this would be interesting.
He's on
Why are they asking me about pricing?
Ubuntu.
Dude, just go free. You don't need to pay. Just free. I haven't registered an account in a
Do I do a
while.
merge request? Is that what you're saying?
Huh? What?
How do I request access to this?
Go to gitlab.com/cyber@uc and I think there should be a request access button. I don't know. AJ did it an hour ago.
There we go. Okay. I was at the repository.
Alright. And then basically,
Hey.
we can write everything in Markdown, can't we?
Yep.
I got a great username.
I'm afraid.
Would it be?
Bear Cat, but it's BARE.
Bear.
Bear.
Should be BAUUER.
Create a project. Yada yada yada. Request. Something or other. Groups. New groups. Explore groups. What's it called again?
gitlab.com/cyber@uc.
I'll get there eventually. I had to reset my network connection because I had to change my password. So I'll get there.
I meant to ask everyone to make an account before they came today, but then I just did not.
Is this something that you have to do through HTTPS?
I think GitLab is HTTPS only.
Yeah.
Like what?
He said something about SSH.
Slash what?
GitLab.com.
Oh, that's probably for contributing or something.
This URL right here.
Precisely.
GitLab.com. We'll see whether or not it cannot be found or I don't have
We
permission.
should change our name to Cyber, BEAR@UC.
Yeah, Cyber is. Oh, okay. Here.
Did you spell everything
That's what
right?
it is. No, it's Okay, cyber@uc.org.
Jeez, Hayden.
3 minutes
Take
ago.
forever to give me access.
You didn't tell. I said tell me when you have made the request, and I'll give you access. You didn't tell me.
Verified.
It's your fault.
Remind later.
Did you give me?
Yeah.
So
Do you give me-
after we find you, then what?
Request access.
Request access.
Bearcat.
Building and testing. And
Everyone stare at Ryan until he gets it. Because he's the last one.
Jeez, how can we have 8 issues? I only just got here.
I haven't looked at the issues in a while. Some of them might be outdated.
I drink a lot of water.
Like
There's only water.
I don't know if we'll even use those issues since we have ClickUp now.
You lent me around, but I think I left that at the house.
You can bring that back.
Well,
I like my
Can
blue
I
one.
use
You
it?
can have my other one.
can I use it?
You can have my other silver one.
Well, I like the blue one,
No, it's my blue one.
but
My
I
blue
like it.
I don't care.
But
I'll
AJ
be a
is
little-
president of the
but-
Jack.
But I like it.
where is where's the request?
It's on the front page.
Yo,
Go to that.
Hayden?
There.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Can you plug me in, please?
Plug. It's over there. I can't
there's
reach
not
it.
one right below you.
Oh yeah, there is. I forgot about that.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, man.
Oh, and my charger's here.
Yep. Thanks.
Did you request access? Hey, look at that.
Yep.
All right, cool. So now you can go from the organization page. You can go to the cyber@uc.org, and this is our project. And there's an install guide here for getting it running locally. A lot of you are on Windows, and I have actually never done it on Windows. But you can actually one of the cool things on here is that they have this web IDE that lets you edit shit from your browser.
What?
If you're only messing with Markdown, if you're editing actual like code of the site, I'd say don't use web IDE because then you might not be 100% confident that you're not gonna break the website. But if you're just editing Markdown pages, it's like Markdown's hard to screw up.
So we go to cyber.
You underestimate my power.
I don't see that button up there nor mine. So
If you go to this project and you hit web IDE,
I don't have whatever.
like if you're on the organization page and you just hit cyber@uc.org,
Hold on, cyberuca.org. I just click on it, right?
yep, should be a
Step
button
into it.
here.
Nope.
Do you guys? Let me make sure. You might not automatically have access. I was hoping you should, but
In
Oh,
what
we
folder?
don't.
What folder?
Under the main folder, cyber@uc.org. Like he's saying, there's an add a cluster, add contribution guide, add change logs, set up.
I see web IDE. It's by find file.
Yeah, I'm in it right now.
yeah, okay. I was pretty sure I gave you guys
said
access.
it's by find file. I don't have a find file, so
It's right at the top.
what does your daddy screen look like, bro?
Scroll down. It is right there.
Ah.
You gotta scroll down when you got a pinky screen.
Yeah, I got a small screen.
So, dude, this is actually really cool. You can
Yeah,
just
no.
you can do it all in a thing.
So I'll just sort of. I've got the big thing you might also want to have open another tab is on our website. If you go to cyber@uc.org, hit guides, and hit contributing to cyber@uc.org. I've sort of broken down everything, or at least the important shit. So you might have that open in another tab, just while we're going. But I'll go over stuff myself. So yeah, we're using a system called Jekyll, which lets us make the site just in Markdown. So, for example, the homepage is not in Markdown actually because I made it fancy, so I'm not going to use that as an example. But the about page, for example, is just about.md, and you can see you've got this little thing. This is called the front matter that sort of defines metadata about the page, and then after the front matter is just the about page is a bad example, but if I go to the legal page, this is just straight up Markdown. And so, oops, that needs to be updated. Hey, that's something we can do right here.
Index HTML is the initial page. When
That
you
is the
go
home
in.
page. It's
So if we're adding a blog post,
so if you want to add a blog post, there's a folder called _posts, which I'm going to pull up right now, and you can see there's already one in there. And basically
everything's under assets.
you
do new file.
yeah, so basically look at the file that exists, and it's called like the date, and then like the URL. This is called the slug when you have things like with dashes like this. And if I go on the website and look at this blog post,
God, this is beautiful.
this is how that ends up turning into a URL.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, I mean the whole project.
So it's basically if you want to write a new blog post, I'd say just copy paste the existing one and edit the stuff up here.
Put all of our guides on the site now, dude.
I was about to put one on mounting and mounting Linux drives.
Where do you want the
Yeah,
links
dude.
to the videos?
Dude.
I think that should probably go on the guides page, which if you look in guides and go to index.md, you can maybe make a new section, tutorials or something.
How are you on the web IDE?
Huh?
How do you get there?
You go, are you in the project? So go back to, there it is.
It's the 8th month, right? And it's the 8th day. Yeah.
Yeah, and right now I don't have things automatically going live on the website. So if you've added something, just tell me and I'll do a build. It's literally just me SSHing in and running.
So if we want to do a new post, we can just copy and paste that because it's just post.
Yeah, and you do need to, I do want to enforce some namings there. So you do need to have it named like the year, month, date, and then like a URL slug. Like here I did ohio-cyber.range. And you can see that's how it shows up in the URL of the page when you actually visit it on the site. And then when it says author, that should be your UC username, which is defined. I think everyone in this room is already in here, but there's this file data_data/authors, and then everyone's in here.
Whoa, is that my Twitter?
Yeah.
I don't have Twitter anymore. You delete that.
All right.
You get rid of it?
I deleted my Facebook, my Twitter.
Nice.
I was at the social media monitoring conference.
Oh yeah. So here, I deleted AJ's Twitter, and then I just hit commit here.
Wait, why'd you delete my Twitter?
Fuck off. No one likes you. And then you hit
Decided it wasn't worthy of being on his website.
commit, and then I said, and then remove edit. Please put messages with all your commits. Don't just commit things. I will ban. I will just take away your access.
Yeah, I'm usually
Stage
pretty
and
strict
commit.
on those.
And so now that's live for everybody.
Specific on my comments. But
And so yeah, this is the file
yeah,
where this stuff goes, and this page is used to define authors on blog posts. It's also the page that's used to populate the about page, which is why it's got extra information. So yeah, everyone should already be in here.
So the way we have to set the title of the page is an interesting way in Markdown. I'm used to doing like a hashtag for the main title.
It's got to be in the front matter because that way the blog thing can automatically put it up here, and it can put it in like the metadata that shows up for like you don't have to care about this stuff, but this is like the SEO stuff that is used so that if someone links to our blog on social media, it shows the title and description correctly.
Let's make a template file.
And so there's also this thing up here in the front matter, main image. So like this is if you want an image right at the top of the article, you put it here. If not, if you want an image somewhere else in the article, then the way you do it is where's that guide? Oh, I've got it over here. I've got a little thing here. You add this little bit of code, which is not normal Markdown that you're used to seeing, but it should be pretty easy. So you just put in the name of your file, alt description and a caption, and you plop this in. And the place to put your image is an _assets/image. And try and use
If you want a whole unique page, you need a unique CSS file.
No, you don't need a new CSS file for a page. This is just the assets folder for the whole site. See, there's only 3 CSS files. You never, unless you really want to get on board as a web developer, you probably never need to mess with CSS.
It's been
It's
a while
just-
since I did CSS. But
Yeah, you don't need to. You can just, if you have an image for a blog post, if you can start the file name with the date, I would appreciate that. If you have an image for like a guides, like it's sort of transpose the URL of your page into your file name. So like this is for cyber@uc.org/guide/livestream. So it starts with guides livestream. Just so that we can have a little bit of organization here.
So you say your author is Shift HA. Does that get changed to be?
Yeah, change it to your.
So Carter AJ.
Yeah, your UC name. It's your UC username, which should match what's in authors.yml. So like here, yeah, your Carter Raj.
Hey, you got my last one, right?
Yeah.
Those people don't bother to capitalize the P.
Where is my? I want my water. I'm talking too much.
Now, for the rest of after you do like the main heading area with the 3 dashes, can you use like normal markdown?
Yeah,
with,
that is called the front matter, and that is the only part of it that is not normal markdown. And the other thing is that this is markdown with some extra stuff tossed in, and on here it goes into a little more detail. It is GitHub flavored markdown, and we also have cram down features, and you can go on this page and click these links if you want to know the sorts of crazy stuff. It can automatically generate a table of contents, stuff like that for you. So
Latex math blocks.
huh?
Latex math blocks.
Yeah. I have not tested that those work yet. I might need to turn on some JavaScript stuff, but if you want to use them, let me know, and yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, if you're linking to another page on the site, instead of putting in HTTPS then our URL, put in this. That way, if we ever change our domain name, all the links will point to the new one. Or if we ever have like a testing version of the site up, the links on that will work. So it's just
that's only for our site though.
Yeah, if you're linking to our site. If you're linking to another site, it's just a normal old link. Let's see. This is a nice thing for embedding a YouTube video if you ever want to do that. Instead of having to copy paste the HTML block that YouTube has, just do this. I talked about these files. Headshots. I wrote a guide on how to crop your headshot correctly. Just send it to me. I'll do it. I wanted it documented somewhere so that my process wasn't locked to me, but just have me do it. Don't bother reading all that shit.
Yeah, lay out the fonts.
Oh yeah, this section sort of goes into more depth about the blog post stuff. And yeah, let's see. I think this is not there anymore. That needs to be updated. Let's see. Let me look at the existing blog post. Yeah. So if you don't have a main image, you can literally just erase this. Date. When you put in the date, that should be the date that you plan on publishing the post, not the date that you started it, probably. That's generally a good practice. And it should be, whatchamacallit. It should be like EST or whatever local time is. I think the site is configured to automatically handle that. So, let's see, what else is there? Oh, if for the meetings pages, so the way those work is there's, oh wow, this is not very smart alphabetization there. But there's this folder _meetings, full of these files, and let's go to the last one. And these have a similar thing. This has.
Could we maybe separate those by year?
Oh.
Just make it easier, like in the future. I'm just picturing like 5 years from now. That's like a shit ton of meetings.
Yeah, that's just the way it has to work because of the URL. For the URL to be /meeting/61, that's just sort of the naming. We can potentially.
Yeah, it's gonna grow and grow and grow.
But it's sort of like you can go on this page and you can see like what year stuff is.
So if we have 100 of them,
we'd have 100 files in this folder. But anyway, the meetings files are pretty similar, and let's get to one where I've put in, say, like Corey's weekly content. Why are you taking so long to load? Load faster, buddy. Oh god, it loaded right as I clicked away. So here we can see I've just gone through and put Corey's weekly content here. You have to have the meeting number here, which seems redundant with the file name. Just deal with it. It's too hard to not have it that way. And it's pretty much every week I just have it so that it's always 18:30. I have the time when the meeting actually started. And then there's if we had a live stream, there's the YouTube link here. And the meeting number here is actually used to automatically get the slides. So like if we have a week where we don't have slides, you have to add this line. And And the slides, it automatically pulls from files/slides/ the meeting number just has to match up with the meeting numbers in this folder. It does it automatically. I made it hella easy. So you just, like, if I wanted to get, like, this week's meeting slides in there, I can literally do download as PDF. And then, oh God, go away. Where's my download? Resume. So I'm just going to rename this to meeting_063. And this is actually, I'm going to do it locally on my machine rather than in the web IDE. It's basically the same thing. What folder is this in? This is not where I want to be at all. So I'm going to open. So I just go to _meeting. Oh, nope, that's not where I want to go actually. I go to files. There they are. So I'm just going to drag this over here. And then let's see, I'm going to go to Atom, my editor of choice. And you can see this is the exact same stuff that's on the web ID. It's just on my local machine.
Project into Atom.
Huh?
Pulled the whole project into
Yeah, I just have the repo cloned on my machine and then I can do stuff. So if I go in here and I'm just gonna duplicate this file and name it 63, I will get around to 62 at some other time. What's the date? There's not even space for the date on my screen. Look at that. What's today's date? It's the 8th. Okay, so I'll update this and I'll update this. And we do not yet have a YouTube, but I'll delete all this crap from last week. This week, Hayden showed how to make updates to the chapter website. I'll save that, and then I'll go to my Git client right here, and I'll just commit these two files. Added, actually I tend to do meeting 63. I'm going to push that. And so now, oh no, oh right,
So one thing that I think we should think about for the future, because I would like to have you do this again in the fall when we have like more people. We should tell them to push to a branch that's not master.
Yeah, no, I'm going to set that up. I'm going to have a develop branch.
Because I trust all of us here, but when we start getting...
I meant to do that before today, and I just didn't get to it.
I don't want to fuck up the master.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, to the development branch. That would make sense, the dev branch, right? And then...
Couldn't you make all of your changes in GitLab, though, using their web IDE?
Yeah, but it's just... I do it here because I can test a local copy of the site. So now I've pushed that, and it should show up in the web ID if I refresh the page here. Yep, there's the slides, and now I will just... This is something you do not have to know how to do because I'm the only one who even has access, but I will show you the process of building it live on the site because it's really dang easy. I just SSH in, go to a directory, run the script, takes like a second.
Is that script just custom, like, you didn't code all that, that was kind of just a custom Jekyll?
That was part of Jekyll. Here, I will show you what the script does. This is the entire script right here. It sets production because otherwise there's a couple things like it won't have the Google Analytics. It repulls from Git. It reinstalls Ruby dependencies. Jekyll's written in Ruby, and then it runs the build command. And that is the entire process.
Can we, for fun, do canvas fingerprinting on our site?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's something we can.
Because that'd be a good thing to talk about. Like, you can get tracked without cookies.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's interesting. So now, here, I'm just going to refresh here. Look, oops, I forgot to change the title. I'll fix that later.
What about 62?
Yeah, I also need I'm just behind.
Oh, okay.
I'm just behind and bad.
No worries.
But here, there's the PDF, and it just, yeah, I've set it up so everything's sort of like nice and automatic. And so if you go through, if you want to be able to test this on your local machine instead of just committing things and hoping that you didn't mess up the markdown, if you look in...
You can preview markdown.
Yeah, you can preview stuff, but if you want to be able to test the site locally, if you're going to be making like substantial changes, in there's a README down here that tells you how to install it. On Mac, I can guarantee you it's very easy. On Linux, it should be fine. On Windows, I have followed guides on how I have followed best practices on making things work on Windows, but
Use Windows.
have fun. Please let me know if you're having issues, and I'll help as best I can. But yeah, once you get it like installed, it's actually it's very easy. If I just go, let's see. So I'm in. Oh, this is actually the wrong directory. So if I go to, this is the folder, and you can see it's the same folder. That's like the root of the site. If I literally just have to run bundle exec Jekyll serve, and this will generate the site. And so now if I go in my browser to localhost port 4000, this is my local copy of the site. And the neat thing is that this is automatic updating. So if I fix this stupid mistake I made, contributing to, so like right now if I go to the meetings page, it's got this idiot mistake I made. And if I go,
That is a really dumb mistake.
hey, screw you, I didn't ask. If I go here and I hit save, and you can see here, it'll regenerate this file, and it takes like 3 seconds, then I can refresh and it's updated. So that way you can preview your changes in real time, which is very nice. Yeah, so yeah, like if I'm Corey and I want to add my YouTube links to the guides page, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything that?
Go to the guides.
Yeah, so I go to guides, I go to index. Maybe I'll make a new section. I'll make a new section called tutorials. And AJ, you were talking about how you didn't like that you didn't have the level 1 title, but all the titles below that are the same way you're used to.
Yeah, I got that.
Tutorials, and so just go to the YouTube. Hey, look, we're live. Copy link.
Hey, look, we're live.
Virtual box part 1. And part 2. Maybe I'll use some nice grammar.
So is that just how you want those put in there?
Yeah, I
You
figure.
don't want like a separate page or something?
I don't know. If you want a separate page, if you want to write some content addition, but if it's just YouTube links, then like why
I
not?
was just gonna be like, I was gonna make a page.
Yeah, you can do that.
Because we're gonna have like, eventually, there's probably gonna be like a decent number of videos. I mean, we can fit them all on there. If we're
Yeah,
gonna
you
have,
can
like,
you can make a separate page, and what I'd say is just like.
If you do that, you just start at the layout.
So here, let me.
Once
How do
you
I?
start the layout, you said for the layout is what points to the particular page that you're.
Let's see. How do I get out of making this commit? I changed my mind. I don't want to commit. Let me go back. Edit. Aha. So like if instead, so let's say we're gonna have a tutorials page. Let's see. How do I make a new file? New. Whoop. Stop. New file.
Yeah, when we're contributing also to the website, do we need to worry about new lines, or can we write all of our stuff on one line?
It's
for scaling on the website.
It's like I mean, paragraphs will automatically break across lines if that's what you're asking.
And I'm just saying, like, if I.
It's like normal markdown rules. Like if you only put one line break, then it considers it to be part of the same paragraph.
Okay, I didn't know if it interprets things differently or not.
So here I'll make guide/tutorials, and just like this, I'll sort of just copy this over here and make it guide/tutorials. Make it tutorials. Here are our YouTube tutorials. That looks decent. And then I go back here and I'll put maybe I'll make it bold, or maybe I'll make a header. YouTube tutorials. All our tutorial videos can be found here. Site.url/guide/tutorials. Now I will commit, and this will be touching 2 files. Added YouTube tutorial page. Actually, that's what I'll do. Stage and commit. Now I'll just Push it. That's not good. What is that? What is that exception? That's not what I like to see. Did someone commit something else?
Yeah, I did.
Let me see.
I didn't change anything else. But I think you better overlook it because
You
I might
can't.
have done it
Oh,
right.
you can't name your file like this. Make it. It needs to be like a lowercase name. Because you can't have
I wasn't
spaces
sure.
and
I
colons.
was really confused on how they were correlating to like the
So-
site address.
But you also need to put it in posts,
Permalink, yeah.
right?
Huh?
Don't
No,
you
it's
also need to
supposed
put
to
it in
be a guide.
posts, not in guides?
What is this supposed to be? This is supposed to be a guide. So
We have a guide section.
see, how do I rename a file?
That's what I couldn't figure out. Because I was trying to read it. I deleted it once, actually.
Remember how you said those correspond to actual places in your file system? Probably have to go to
Oh,
there.
see, I was gonna do a guide. and
What is this
post it
guide
in
on again? I
blog.
just forgot.
Did you just delete it already?
I deleted. I'm gonna remake it. I have it in my clipboard right now.
It's just called Linux, just mounting drives, just call it
Yeah. So I just name it mounting-drives.md.
that. Yeah, that's what I would have liked to have named it. but,
Yeah. So that's what you want to name the file, and you put mounting-drives. And then this header is going to be redundant. There's already going to be a title at the top of the page.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So I'm going to get rid of this.
I just figured I'd commit it.
So unfucked Ryan's mounting drives guide.
Yeah.
Commit that, and then I'll just rebuild.
Yeah.
I saw a markdown error.
Still throwing that YAML.
Mapping values are not allowed. Line 3, column 13. What are these? I think it does. I think it thinks these are something weird. Let's see what it's showing up on on the website. /mounting drive. Oops, this is my local host.
Where was it again?
Ooh, that didn't work right at all. What is going on here? That's very bad. The whole site isn't like that, right? Okay, good. So let's see. I think it might be mad about what you've got with
What
these.
is that? 'Cause that should be-
SDA, that is.
No, those should be in code blocks, dude.
What should be in code blocks?
SDA.
So
Those are
let's
your
put those in
drive
code
names,
blocks.
man.
I think it thinks that weird thing.
Yeah, it must think they're like meaning titles or something.
Yeah, it
I'm confused. Yeah.
needs to be,
On GitHub, it showed fine.
let's see,
It didn't work. Poop. Let's see.
the escaping out.
This is part of why I kind of would encourage you to build things locally and test before you push them. If
Yeah.
I just didn't want to spend the meeting.
Yeah, I would have done that.
Yeah. So that's what I would encourage you to do instead of web IDE. But let's see. Let's fix it, and let's also, while we're at it, add a link here. I don't know if having a separate tutorials page is the best. Maybe we have like a page for VirtualBox.
I was thinking it was going to be like there was going to be a page for tutorials, which was going to link out to.
Yeah, I think that's what the guides page is. I think instead of having a separate tutorials page, I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to make this the
Like
VirtualBox.
there's going to be a page for all of the virtual machine tutorials.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
each
there
of
should
the
be a markdown
tutorials.
for each
For now,
tutorial.
I say for now, we only have one page.
I think we should.
Once we have,
I think we should consider a
Why don't we do it all
set
from the
of
blog?
three or 4 tutorials pages based
We can make a
upon
blog post
different
linking to this, AJ.
complexity. See
Yeah.
what I mean?
So we're gonna have
everybody. You could say everybody needs to go through all these basic tutorials, blah blah blah. So, and basic tutorials have a certain number of very specific tutorials.
Well, this would be nice too because we could put like our walkthroughs and demos and what to do on the site.
for now, I think
the meeting.
we only have like 3
And high
tutorials.
schools.
I think for now, we just have a list here, and as we have more content, then we figure out how we want to structure it. I think trying to build structure for things we don't have yet doesn't make sense because it's so easy to change it.
I think we should build structure.
It will be easy to change it, so that'll be the best thing about it.
Hayden,
If
this
we're
is a
planning on
badass way
discussing
of
in a
setting the
meeting,
site,
whatever,
man.
we can
Mad
add
props.
however we discuss it.
Mad props. This is professional as fuck. This is really good
This is
looking.
nice.
Like, and this would be great too.
The branch-
especially for outreach, dude. Being able to just tell high schoolers, like, yeah, go to this site and.
What do you
like,
mean?
we
Has
don't
someone
have to
added a
use
branch?
Other people's content. We can
Someone
get
add a
content.
branch?
Like
That
source.
Maybe like add a branch or something. What? No, I committed straight to master.
What the
Well, that's committed.
You set this up through Jekyll, you said?
So and so unstaged. There's three staged changes.
Let's see what's going on.
Looks like you made the brand. Oxguy 3 Master Patch 95.
I just tried making my edits into a merge request because I just wanted to push them. I don't fucking care. All right, I think it should be. I think it should. You know, suck in my face.
So,
What are you still mad about, God? Let's see how that works.
I'm making a beginner's guide to wireless chipsets. So like, you know, have you ever like wanted to get a wireless adapter and you didn't want to comb through all of the fucking internet to figure out which ones support what modes? Bam, that's what we're gonna have.
AJ, what's your GitLab profile picture?
It's a jet with Santa Claus in it. It was my profile picture of my Battlefield 3 like online profile because I just flew jets all the time.
It's probably going to be to make a tutorials folder with.
Yeah, well, that's
within
what the
guides.
guides folder is supposed to be.
Well, no, like there's going to be guides, but then like within that we're going to have a separate subset for tutorials.
Guides and tutorials,
They're the same
they're like
thing.
synonyms.
Yeah.
What are you mad about, God?
we just post the YouTube link like in line with the guide.
Line 3, column 13. Where's the thing? Oh! It's because you have a colon in your title and you didn't put it in quotes. So I was getting confused because, yeah.
See, that's what happens when you don't have the IDE. Usually it would like catch that for you right away.
And I just undid this. I'm gonna redo it.
I like how it, yeah, it's not good colors.
Fix errors.
Well, what syntax error? You didn't say what syntax error.
It was just if it's a teeny change, I just like don't care. If it takes more time for me to describe the edit than for me to make the edit, it's not worth describing. Is my philosophy.
Right? It went through that just fine, didn't it? I think it did. Yeah.
Bam! Look at that.
Yep. There you go.
Nice.
Whoa. Well, you gotta do it if you don't have F disk. Not all distros have F disk. Ryan.
Then they can install us.
I'm just fucking.
They can go find.
Oh.
Also, please.
They can find another.
Oh, we need to
source
remove
for
that
your
link.
tribute.
That link is no good.
Guide and make it better because there's a lot of ways you can do that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to
delete that
contribute.
link. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Let me
Cool, man. Cool beans.
move
Don't
that.
ask me how I got started saying that saying. Cool beans. I don't even remember. It was probably around the same time.
So yeah, I recommend cloning it and working on it locally. WebID is nice for quick patches, but I wouldn't recommend. So I'd try and get it going locally. And like I said, the guide for that is just it's right here, and it's not too bad. It's just install a few things, clone it, run install.
And what IDE do you like to use?
I just use Atom
Okay.
right here.
I have
I've
Atom.
got a base power.
I have
shell
Atom on my
too.
laptop.
Yeah, Atom's
I've been
great.
liking VS Code a lot more recently.
Mhm.
Only in the past, since this summer. I've always been a huge Atom fanboy, and I love Atom still, but VS Code has come a long way, and it opens bit large files faster.
So how do you? Where's the
I thought
part
you were
that
against all
tells
the
it how to
proprietary
use
stuff.
all of these markdown
What do you mean?
files?
So that is defined by
Yeah,
Jekyll,
yeah,
which
well,
is
when a tool
which is sort of
really, really,
the
really
way
good,
that
and
the config file is sort of the root for how Jekyll is configured. And then Jekyll sort of runs with Ruby. And Ruby, a lot of things, like a lot of languages will have like a vendor folder where all the dependencies are. Ruby has them somewhere else, so you're not seeing that code in here. But it is there. And like you can see, like layouts is where it defines what a page looks like. Like here's here's the HTML for a blog post and stuff like that. So you can see most of the stuff that's useful, but then some of it isn't here because it's just Jekyll stuff that isn't in the directory. But we can modify Jekyll stuff too with stuff with plugins. I don't think I have any I haven't written any custom plugins for this yet, but you can do them. Like the meetings thing is set up custom as a
I'm just wondering how you would set something up like to use Jekyll.
What do you mean?
I can look it up at some point.
Yeah. I have the link to the Jekyll stuff. So like this is the config for like the core stuff of the site. And here you can see how I've set up collections or meetings as a collection.
So it's using YAML?
Yeah, that's what that front matter stuff is. That stuff above the markdown in all the files, that's YAML. So it's dash some YAML dash some markdown. And that is not uniquely. Jekyll is probably most famous for it, but there's a lot of things that use that, like what is it? Patat, the markdown slide thing I used the other week, that used the same exact format. And I think there's another similar system called Skeleton that uses a pretty similar format. So it's if you see files that are like YAML and then markdown, that's a really common format.
But these are all static pages, right? So like,
yeah, it is all static. Yeah, it is literally you can the way it is actually generating is when you run the build command, it just builds the site in this directory site here. So you can see this is what's like literally being served by the website. And you can see like there's HTML files here, and it's renaming things. Like it's renamed all the images to these garbage names because it's optimizing them and stuff.
Is there anything that we can do? Is there any way or anything we have on our website right now on how to edit our website that could tell people how to fuck us over?
No, because first they would need for me to give them GitLab access, and second they would need me to run the build command without looking at what they committed.
What I was going to do was add in some.
I'm planning on eventually making it so that I have people work in the develop branch, and then the master branch, whenever there's a commit to it, it automatically gets pushed live. But I will have it so that there's only certain people are allowed to put things in the master branch once I do that. So yeah. No, you. This is literally, there is no dynamic code here. Like you can't actually, you probably could put a PHP file in. I think I have that enabled. I will, but. Probably once we move it off of my server, and we won't have PHP turned on, so you won't even be able to do that. So yeah, it is all just static files. You cannot. This website is like too simple to be hacked. Like it is literally like if you actually put in that's what's really being served here. It's not PHP.
We're just looking at static HTML files.
Yeah. So yeah.
The worst they could do is like, even if they did get something in there, was like make a page with submit maybe links to somewhere malicious.
Yeah. Or like put in some shitty JavaScript code.
Or lies. Feed us lies. Just like all AJ's friends are gonna do to him on WhatsApp now.
Mm-hmm. All of them.
What's this?
It's your face.
What about it?
It's just your face.
I'm all for taking another picture.
Sure, yeah, I'd have to bring in my camera.
Yeah. I adopted a hairstyle a lot closer to Corey. If you look, like lately.
This hairstyle?
Yep, definitely a lot closer. My current hairstyle is a lot closer to that than it is to what it was before that picture. Basically, instead of having the bang coming down in front of my forehead, I have it lifted up. Yeah. I got my hair cut like that. Totally changed it.
You got that porn stash.
So, and of course, I look so much better this new way compared to the old way. Yeah, we should probably totally just take an older picture. Whose camera was that? Oh, wait a minute, that was
Me.
gone.
Well, Alex took the initial ones, but I've taken them since.
Oh yeah, we used your thing.
You can tell the ones that were taken with Alex's because they're like really warm looking.
Background if I do it again. I have a totally different background.
No, we'll do the same basic background.
What we should do is we should take a photo of some random person, and then we'll put each of us in the background.
Yeah.
And that's how we'll do our photo.
Yeah, Corey's, I wasn't paying attention. I did not see this guy with this obnoxious red shirt behind him, and I was just like, God damn it.
Yeah, you weren't.
Just Photoshop him out.
No, I started to do that, and I was like, that background is too complex. It's gonna look like shit if I try.
It's just like a black gradient.
That's glass, actually.
You could pick the right pixel color around it.
I was just like, I could do it, but it'd take forever, and I don't care enough.
I like how Jai's the only person whose photo wasn't taken over there.
Yeah, well, and it's also like a really old photo of him or something. No, he's not the
Do
only
it in
one.
MATLAB.
Iggy and Grace, I have other photos of them.
If you're gonna do the find and replace, if you're gonna replace it, I don't know if you're doing it in MATLAB. You know how to do that code.
It was so funny at the Sunday meeting. I was editing Greg's headshot, and so I opened my computer sitting next to him, and he's like, "Why do you have me up on your screen?" And I'm like, "I swear I'm not a weirdo. I just happen to be editing your fucking headshot." He was like, "What the fuck, dude? Are you just looking at my headshots all the time?" And I'm like, "No, I was trying to do it before the meeting."
No, what you should have done is you should have right then and there just set it as your